A platform of compassion. You are now ready to construct a platform of compassion based upon these 4 cornerstones of human interaction. I suggest you make some notes on this section and keep them handy until you have these principles locked into your conscious mind. This is the platform from which you will be most effective in responding to verbal attacks. Responding to a verbal attack with anything less than compassion, and compassion will become more automatic when you have the 4 cornerstones in place, will nearly always trigger an even stronger response from your would-be opponent. When people are under the spell of an amygdala hijacking, they will instinctively ramp up their aggressions if they detect condescending or sarcastic vocal intonations or sense disdain and judgment in your body language and facial expression. It is common to lose self-control as a result of cornerstone number 2, the internal dialogue, not being fully understood. This is the most common breakdown in staying calm. We see someone else who is acting out of control and we think to ourselves, if I were acting that way, I'd be really disappointed with myself. I might even hate myself. I'd never do anything like that. This thinking is often at a sub-language level, so you may not hear yourself having this thought, but it's there. And so we judge the other person with a formula that goes like so. Because they are acting that way or said X, it must mean Y, because if I were acting that way or said X, it would be because I meant Y. Now we have an assumption about what this person meant by what they said or did that may be entirely false, and here's the saying, assuming is the mother of all mess-ups. Please pay attention to your internal dialogue. Your self-talk is your own greatest enemy. Fortunately, it can also become your own best friend. Fight or flight. Unfortunately, the model of human being that we all use on our journey through life comes stock from the factory with only 2 default settings for dealing with attacks of any kind. Fight, block the attack, and then attack back in the hopes that our retaliation will finish off the attacker before they finish us off. And flight, turn tail and run, or freeze, clam up. This is the basis of all combative martial arts. The attacker strikes, we block and counter-strike, they block and counter our counter, etc., etc. You've seen it a million times if you've seen even one Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan movie. The reason that this type of martial art, or alternatively becoming conflict-averse and just running away from attackers, is so popular is because it is more instinctive to try to refine our factory-installed software than it is to learn and install a new and completely different operating system with another option for dealing with aggression. When we are verbally attacked, either we're suppressing our feelings of hurt or betrayal, in essence mentally running from dealing with a verbal confrontation, or we get into heated arguments where even if we win the argument, we've still lost. We have lost our composure, our opportunity to deal constructively with a potentially destructive situation, and, most importantly, we have lost our ability to guide and create real and lasting solutions. Thankfully, there is an alternative to our caveman brain's fight or flight instinct. No Mind. No Mind is an add-on software option for dealing with conflict that was refined to the highest level by the Japanese samurai during the Edo period from the early 1600s to the end of the 19th century. Called Mushin by the samurai, it is a state of relaxed focus and calm alertness that the American Apache Indians referred to as being prepared for anything, expecting nothing. In this state of no mind, we are not putting out any messages or sending any signals, verbal or otherwise. We are only taking in information from as many sources and senses as possible, including our intuition. There is no judgment or reacting, only the calm and steady awareness of the incoming data. We are in a state of no mind when there is no attachment to the outcome of the exchange. It is from this place that we can truly blend with our attacker, neutralize their attack, and guide them to partner with us to discover a new solution together. The key to no mind is having no attachment to the outcome of any conflict situation. This does not mean being mindless or indifferent. Rather, it is a state of mindful detachment. Being unattached allows you to connect with the other person or people involved without being trapped by your own unmovable position. Think of the willow tree, flexible enough to withstand the highest winds by bending without breaking. Let's look more closely at Aikido to understand no mind in a physical application. Aikido, turning discord into harmony. What we resist persists. This is part of human nature. Watch little kids play fighting and you'll see one of them grab hold of another's wrist and the two will begin a tug-of-war in the attempt to regain control. It's how we're wired. The founder of Aikido, Morihei Ueshiba, known as O-sensei, or great teacher, said, "He who has won by force has won but half the battle." To further that concept, he also stated, "Victory over self is the only true victory." In essence and in practice, Aikido is about learning how not to fight. It provides a third option to our instinctive fight-or-flight response when someone loses control and verbally attacks you. Let's call that option harmonize. Just as when the musicians in a jazz band seem to be playing independently from one another, then miraculously make the discordant sounds blend into harmony, we can learn to create harmony out of discordant dialogue. The word Aikido roughly translates to the way of the harmonious spirit, and is the name O-sensei gave to the art that came to him in a vision where Budo, or the art of war, became the way of love and harmony. As a martial art, Aikido is only defensive, but in a highly proactive way. Self-defense is a phrase that conjures up images of subduing someone with some kind of magical technique or fancy hold, and to a first-timer, parts of Aikido look just like that's what's happening. On closer inspection, we see that there is more to this art than meets the eye. There are dozens of good books that explain the art of Aikido in detail, a few of which are listed in the book list which I'll read to you at the end of this recording. We will touch on the martial side of the art simply to provide a foundation for the principles of harmonizing with an attack. The printed book itself contains flip art. On the back of each page are sequential still shots that can be viewed as a movie by thumbing the pages quickly and smoothly with your left hand from back to front to see an Aikido response to an attack. I'll describe that response to you now. The attacker is a male who reaches across to grab the opposite wrist of a female Aikidoist. She responds by stepping up next to the attacker and turning to face the attacker's direction. From here, she places her free hand on the attacker's shoulder, steps back, and captures his balance enough to guide him around towards his backside where he is less stable. In this sequence, we see that the attacker is trying to force the attacked to go with him. Both parties are committed to their respective positions. The verbal equivalent might be her boss telling her on Thursday afternoon that she must come to work on Saturday, and she already has plans. The boss wants her to come to his position, his way of thinking, while she is committed to her position, her way. Two things stand out in the beginning frames of the flip art sequence. One, there is resistance. The attacker wants the attacked to come with him. The attacked does not wish to go, and the dynamic tension is evident at the point of contact on the wrist of the person being attacked. Two, the only thing the attacker is really controlling is the wrist of the attacked. Relating this to our story, the only thing the boss really has control over is the issue around Saturday's work schedule. If that is the major point of focus, the situation is likely to either escalate, resulting in a major conflict, she loses, or the boss gets his way, wins, and she still loses, wrecking her Saturday plans. As you can see in the flip art animation sequence that should have been included in your CD or tape set, the person being attacked can still move the rest of her body and turns to face the same direction as her attacker. In doing so, she earns the right to guide the attacker to seeing different options and can replace tension with harmony. Let's define that turning point. Tenkan, a turning point. Watching the flip art, we see the person being attacked leaving the attacked portion of her body, the wrist, in place while she moves her body to a different vantage point. That new position is standing right next to the attacker, facing the same direction as the attacker. This blending maneuver results in the attack being neutralized. Because there is no resistance, there is no longer a fight. In our Saturday work saga, she might say to the boss something like, "And please finish this recording before running out and trying out this line." She might say, "Wow, it sounds like we're really backed up in order processing and you need some help." It is natural to focus on the positions. Her boss wants her to work on short notice, she has plans, and the point of contact, Saturday. Instead, she has shown the boss that she is attempting to understand his position and to see the situation the way he sees it. This move is called tenkan, a Japanese word that in this context means to turn and face the way your enemy is facing. Here's a hot tip. Lock this word in as an anchor, and you will find that it helps you access this method when an attack occurs. Just imagine yourself meeting with verbal resistance and say tenkan over and over again, so you will have a programmed trigger for dealing with the conflict. The boss in our example is known for his poor tactical planning and has consistently put burdens on his people by scheduling additional hours at the last minute. By stating what she imagines his situation to be, orders that need to be processed before Monday, he is placed in a non-threatening, neutral situation. Obviously, the boss is accustomed to people resisting his requests for last-minute scheduling nightmares and was prepared to combat that. She might continue from that neutral place with a request that together they look at options for getting the orders entered before the end of business on Friday, either by working late or coming in early, finding some other staff members to help level the load, or whatever makes sense in the situation. Remember, the attacker, or in this example, the instigator, is not in complete control of his decision-making ability. His initial attack or unreasonable request was launched or delivered based on his own subconscious behavior patterns. Because the person being attacked remained calm, she was able to choose to blend with and neutralize the attack. This choice earned the person being attacked the right to guide the attacker to a place where neither would be seriously harmed. In a physical attack, the person who meets up with an Aikido practitioner will lose his balance and may fall down and bump his head, but often this is just enough to help him regain control of his neocortex. As a result, a more agreeable third option could be created, resulting in both parties getting what they wanted without disrupting the harmony of their professional relationship. We'll explore this in detail in the chapters to follow. Reflecting on our foundation. We have covered a lot of ground in this section. The 4 cornerstones of human interaction. Number 1, what everyone wants. We all want to feel important and be understood. Make certain people can tell that you want to understand them and provide evidence that you realize the importance of what they do and who they are, just as they are. Number 2, the internal dialogue. The way we talk to ourselves has tremendous influence on the way we talk to others. More importantly, how we hear others is often a reflection of how we talk to ourselves. This can lead to assumption and judgment, the root of all conflict. Number 3, the cosmic joke. Everyone is scared silly of what other people are thinking of them. First of all, as Reverend Terry Cole Whitaker says, what other people think of me is none of my business. And second of all, if everyone is worrying about what other people are thinking of them, then no one is thinking about you. We're all worried about something no one is doing. Number 4, right to harm versus right to choose. When someone has been hijacked by their amygdala and has temporarily lost their ability to make decisions, we must remain in control of our own neocortex and guide them to regain their ability to reason. We do not automatically have the right to insult, injure, or maim someone who is attacking us. We built a platform of compassion by installing a third option on the drop-down menu that appears when we are faced with any sort of confrontation. That option is Harmonize, which offers us something besides the original equipment choices of fight or flight that come hardwired into these human bodies we are using to explore time and space. We learned that one of the ways to achieve harmony when under attack is to maintain a state called no mind when faced with conflict. This does not mean mindless, but rather a detached state of mindfulness. No mind allows us to take in all information, including intuition, without passing judgment on or assigning meaning to someone who has lost self-control and is attacking us. And we talked about Aikido, the way of the harmonious spirit. This martial art teaches us to look for the most harmonious way to blend with any situation, including violence, and neutralize the attack, earning the attacked the right to guide the attacker to a place of resolve. The anchor word we learned to help us key into the calm method is tenkan, a Japanese word that, for this method, means turn and see things from your attacker's point of view. The cement that holds the platform together is compassion. You must truly want to protect people from harm. Without this compassion, the method will be reduced to techniques, and techniques used to control others can backfire, often creating negative results.